Good evening, everyone. My name is Alistair Lamond. I'm the Senior Consultant for Kinseido ELT. Welcome to our webinar today from the Kinseido building in Jinbocho, Tokyo. Today we are being joined by Mr. Vasilis Vlachokyriakos from Publications, one of our European partners, and he will take us through a series called Pioneer, which is a 4 skills series published by Publications. And we will do that over the space of 1 hour. We will turn over the time to Vasilis as soon as we can so that he can take his time going through the series. And he has a few things to show us, which we're very excited about. However, let me just ask you to keep some things in mind. If you have a question that will be difficult to answer during the webinar, please put it in the question box, which will be archived, and then we can follow up when we have the time to do so and give you the answer you need. At the end of the session, please let me close the session first, which will then activate the To Be Live system to ask you to create a password, which will allow you to join us for other events in the future, including workshops for users, which we'll be announcing next year. So without further ado, please let me just quickly show you that on our Kinseido ELT website, we have a very comprehensive product page for each level of Pioneer. We have individual sections for every section you need to understand to be able to make an informed decision about using the series. And for anyone who wants to try a complete sample unit, including audio and video, you can click on the green tab and you will find all that data for you. We're always happy at Kinseido to support teachers by sending inspection copies. So perhaps at the end of the webinar, you'll more clearly understand which level will suit best for your situation, and then you can contact us accordingly, or you can click on the inspection copy button on the website and give us your information, and we'll send them to you. So let me turn over to Mr. Vlachokyriakos, and he will take away from now. Please, Vasilis.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Thank you very much for your introduction, and thank you for having me here today. On my part, I would like again to introduce myself. I'm Vasilis Vlachokyriakos. I'm here on behalf of Educational Group and Publications, which is part of our biggest group. Publications is, to put it briefly, we're a company specializing in English language teaching, especially for non-native speakers. And we have a vast experience in doing so through also our language schools as well. So for today's session, we'll be seeing, we'll have an opportunity to see our quite popular secondary level series, Pioneer, which, as you can see in our first slide, we're talking about a series that, according to the CFR level, starts from A1.1 for the beginners level and goes up to C1, C1 plus, which is usually suggested for university level students. So as you realize, and as you will see throughout the pages that we will go through next, we're talking about a young adult series. Now, Pioneer, at this point, I also want to stress and highlight on the part that for C1 plus level, we also have available a split edition, depending on the school and how you want to use the book. Now, quite quickly, we will go through a sample lesson, let's say sample unit, sample module as we call it, of first of all of the elementary level book, and then we will see one higher level as well in order to go through the structure of the book. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, Pioneer follows the Common European Framework requirements. So this means that the grading and the whole details that we have followed are according to what the Common European Framework commands, a set of rules and specifications on how to, grade the levels. And the modular approach. The modular approach this is how we organize our book, our series. We're talking about topic-based modules. Okay, the module is a broader sense of a unit. Let's say like a bigger unit. Now, for beginners, elementary and pre-intermediate level, Pioneer, the actual structure of the book is like that: one cover page, 4 lessons, and a review page. Usually the cover page is the introduction to the module. Then we have the 4 lessons all about the target language. Lesson D is all about the skills development and more like focusing more on the production of speech. And then we have the last part, which is the review, revision, and self-assessment section. Now, let's go to the introduction section. As you can see, quite from the start, we want our students to be involved in our lesson. We want our students to start thinking and using the language. So we're using introduction topics in order for them to start talking, start speaking. Okay, and this is offered as a form of activity as well. Speaking activity, obviously. After that, at the bottom, you will see the objectives of the module. We present them quite clearly here, but this is also one option, let's say opportunity for the students to start browsing the pages and go through the actual module itself. Okay. Moving on to the lessons now. Lesson 1, lesson A. We present the dialogues. The dialogues are most of the times real spoken English. We want our students to face real life situations, so that it's closer to them, it's more interesting to them, and it becomes more useful for them. Lots of notes highlighting the key language points throughout the book, in order to help our students focus on specific parts. It's quite structured, the way that we have put everything there. Intonation activities in order to help our students speak intelligible English, right? And of course, apart from that, we have the grammar activities and speaking activities at the end to practice useful language functions. All right. Language is all about communication, so we want, through our books, to offer them lots of opportunities to use the language. Okay. Lesson B starts with a vocabulary. We tend to present vocabulary through visual prompts most of the times, because it is, all of you have seen that it's much easier for a student to recall a word when they have made a connection with an actual picture, let's say, with an actual object, when they have visualized the word. Following, we do see warm-up activities in order to introduce the topic, the reading topic, and also in order to encourage personal response from our students. We tend to use various types of authentic texts. We want them to get in touch with texts that they will face in their everyday life. All right. And after that, we'll move on to the practice part. First of all, we have the grammar reference. We want to teach grammar through, context, and not just giving them rules to memorize. Okay, it's much useful if you can see in small tables like what we offer here, the grammar, and then start practicing in order to understand how all these rules apply in the everyday use of the language. We are in favor of the active involvement of students throughout the book during the whole process of learning. And of course, here at this point, we're talking about the active involvement of the students in the explanation of the grammatical structures. That's part of a lesson. That's something that we want them to be active learners. All right. And the activities, lots of activities after that for grammar, and later on listening and speaking. As I said, we want to focus on language, not on a specific skill or aspect, but language is a living organism. Language is all about speaking, listening, writing. All the skills are part of the language use. Lesson number 3, which is lesson C here. We have initially the vocabulary, as I said, then activities focusing on reading for gist, activities focusing on reading for details. So we want them to learn how to read and why they do that. Okay, not just to read and repeat what they see, but also to have a meaning. All this is connected as well to various exams that we'll need to face later on. And after moving on from the reading part, from the text, to the actual practice part, again, activities, grammar activities, and at this point in lesson C, we have competence-based tasks in order to promote critical thinking skills, research skills, the problem-solving skills, all these skills that are part of the 21st century skills. Okay, we want them to be, again, active learners, not just to follow rules, not to mimic what they see, what the teacher says. Okay. Lesson D is all about speaking activities, writing activities, listening activities, more focusing on production of speech, as I said. So again, we introduce the vocabulary in the beginning, and then we move on to various types of activities for speaking in order for them to make use of the language orally, and then to practice the listening part, the listening skills through the listening part of the book. And we offer them useful tips in order to develop skills and strategies, and also offer them sample texts in order to be able to help them to be able to write texts, extracts, essays later on, but we want to guide them first. So useful guidance in order to develop the writing skills. Okay. Finally, we go to the revision section. So the review part is all about recycling, consolidating, vocabulary, grammar, communication activities. And at the end, we offer them a chance to self-evaluate, to evaluate themselves, to promote learner autonomy, like that. We want them to realize what they have learned, if they have anything that they need to focus more, if they need to repeat some of that, if we can put it like that, like to see their weaknesses and make them their strengths. Okay. So that was the elementary level, and these were the beginner, elementary, and pre-intermediate levels. That's a structure for these levels. Moving on to intermediate level now, we have a slightly different structure within our book. Again, we have the modules. This time we have 2 parts, part A and part B, instead of 4 lessons. Okay, we still cover the same skills and aspects of language. And of course, in the end, we have the review and self-assessment section again. Now, part A, we have 2 pages for reading, vocabulary, and grammar, another 2 pages for vocabulary, grammar, intonation, listening, and speaking. And then part B, reading, vocabulary, listening, and then speaking and writing. So, starting from the introduction of the module, again, the introduction to the topic, various points for brief discussion and to use it as an activity, as a speaking activity, if you like. And of course, at the end, the objectives of the module clearly presented for the students to be able to follow and to be able to start thinking of what it will follow. Moving on to the first part A of the module, we get warm-up activities for the reading part in order to introduce the topic, and then we move on to the actual reading part with various types of texts. We have text from like blogs, comic strips, newspapers, articles, and so on. After the actual text, we go to the practice part. First of all, we see the vocabulary and we place special emphasis on the vocabulary building. Okay. Grammar reference part, and of course activities to practice, and also activities to encourage critical thinking and personal response. Various parts of the book is focusing on differentiating between words that can be easily confused. For example, various parts of the book focus on guidance and helping the students, okay, during the language learning process. We've got a big part of grammar as well, the grammar practice, which is the reference and actual activities to practice in context. And then we move on to speaking activities, practice useful language functions, practice language and get close to the real life language. Okay, so lots of real life situations are related to the topic. Okay, and finally, we always want to offer them various exam type activities. We want our students to familiarize with the exams at some point, especially from B1 onwards. Schools and tend to push the students to take international examinations. So what we want them to do is, as long as they learn the language, as long as they acquire the level, to familiarize with exam types, and to be able to have to be more efficient and get better results during those exams. The second part B, we see again that we start with a vocabulary, always start with a vocabulary, with a new vocabulary, okay? And then we move on to the actual texts, reading parts, okay? Lots of up-to-date texts in order to help students identify with. Lots of sample texts, as we see. We tend to have a variety in the input we offer. We don't want our students to get bored. Students get bored very easily, young kids, but also teenagers. So we want to offer them different material every time in order for them to be more motivated. In this part, we see lots of sample texts for writing. So sample text in order for them to follow, to have a look, have an idea of how it is, and to be able to produce their own texts later on with different styles, different organization. Finally, we get again the review part for a regular revision and consolidation of their recycling what they have learned, and the self-evaluation part at the end. Now, apart from what we have seen throughout our book, we have lots of tasks which could be used as projects as well, in order to promote, as we said, the 21st century skills, in order to promote critical thinking skills, research skills, problem-solving skills, organization skills, collaboration skills. Don't forget that our students are the citizens of tomorrow. So what we're doing that we tend to teach them stuff. We want to make them ready, to prepare them for their adult life. They will be part of a business maybe, they will be part of a different environment. They will need to cooperate with others. They will need to be able to work on projects with their fellow colleagues, right? So they need to practice some of these skills in order to be able to have a successful professional life, right, when they become adults. We also offer them some extra practice, exam practice, and we offer them as part of the revision of the vocabulary, the revision of grammar. Okay, we give them exam type activities in order to, first of all, add variety to what we give them, and also to help them familiarize. There is a meaning in all that, apart from the variety. The purpose is, again, to familiarize with exams, with international exams, so that they will get ready to apply all the knowledge on a specific type of examination when they will be asked. Okay, so we want them to be ready for that. Moving on to the other components of the series, apart from the student's book, we also have the full color workbook, more attractive for the students, even if they're not young kids anymore. Still, for teenagers and adults, colors are more attractive. There is also available with a key booklet that can be used by the teacher as well. Now, the actual workbook offers activities for extra practice, obviously. We're talking about grammar, vocabulary, reading, listening, writing development, extra material, if we can call it extra material, extra practice for them, either to practice in classroom or as a homework. It's up to the teacher how to use it. And of course, it follows the structure of the book, right, of the student's book. Now, for the teacher, we tend to offer them lots of material in order to help them for their preparation, to offer them whatever they need in order to spend less time to prepare. All right. So the Interlead teacher's book with the class CDs. The teacher's book has lots of guidance in there, step-by-step guidance. Lots of tables for the functions and the structures of the lesson. Background knowledge for the teacher, for every topic that the teacher needs to talk to the classroom, the key, okay, and suggested answers for the activities, and also ideas for extra activities if they need. The class CDs, obviously, for the audio parts and the listening activities. Now, moving on to the whiteboard material. A very good way, a very nice and fancy way, if we can call it, to make your lesson more lively. In the interactive whiteboard, you will be able to see to find all the students' book, the workbook, the vocabulary in the form of a digital glossary, and of course, the activities, as we told about students' book and workbook, right? And of course, the videos of the series, Pioneer Clips and Pioneer on View, together with the video activities that you can make use, okay, with your students. We'll have a look at the whiteboard itself. As you can see here, you can access every module. You can access the lesson that you want. Go through the reading part, listen if you need to listen to whenever it's active, to listen to the listening parts, to show the right answers, for example, for the activities. Go through the text, listen or read the text, right? And as I said, you can also make some games in the classroom if you want. It's up to the teacher how to make use of the material. If you want to, for example, for an activity, if you want to just use it as a part of the correction or part of the justification, why its answer is like that, you can see by clicking on the question mark, you can see the extract of the text where you will find the answer, right? Or you can use it like a guessing game in the classroom. So let's go through one. What do you think? Which one is the right answer? And after you collect the answers, you go through and you say, okay, let's see. Number one is with D. Number two is with E, and so on. As you can see here, there are lots of active, if we can say, parts of the book. So you can click on the grammar reference to have a big table in front of you. You can click on the speaking activity so that you can have the example, and you can initiate discussion in your classroom, and so on, right? As I said, you can make use of this material whichever way you want in order to make your lesson more become alive, let's say.
4.
To enrich.
Listening. Listen to two people talking about a visit to the mall. Write S for Sally, T for Thomas, or B for both. Sally.
I went to the mall yesterday. My friends had things to do.
All right.
Me about a new movie, and we decided.
Now, moving on from the interactive whiteboard, well, we can also see, because we didn't see that on your video, we also see some examples of, for example, the digital glossary, how it is. You can see it on the interactive whiteboard. All the vocabulary is in there with examples, with definitions, with pronunciation. You can listen to the pronunciation, listen to the example, you can find the word that you want, right? Apart from the book and the activities and all that, we also have the videos, as I said, Pioneer Clips and Pioneer on View. The main difference between them, Pioneer Clips are animated stories, Pioneer on View are more documentary style videos. All right, let me show you an example of them as well. This is an example of the clips.
Let's take a look around the country. Liz is in Waterton. What's the weather like, Liz?
It's raining.
That's not good. What are the people doing?
They're all inside. They are watching TV and enjoying their warm houses.
Over to Harry in Ingleford. What's it like there, Harry?
It's cold.
I can see. Is everyone inside?
No, some people are driving around. And some people are walking down the street. Well, they're trying to walk anyway.
Claire is in Fairville. What's it? Sonia is in Newtown. What's the weather like, Sonia?
It's
So that's one example of the Pioneer Clips. All right. Now we can also see an example of the documentary style videos. Okay, that we have.
Many people dream of visiting New York. 50 million tourists come from all over the world every year to see the sights and enjoy New York City life. It is a very large city, and 8.3 million people live there. There are many sights to see. A good place to start is the Empire State Building. It is 1,454 feet tall. The view from the top is amazing, and it's a great place to take photographs. There are lots of ways to get around New York. You can take the subway, take a famous yellow cab, or even just walk around. Central Park is a
I
great
believe
place
that you
for a
get
walk,
the actual point
exercise.
of how the video works, right? Now, these videos are there for two reasons. First of all, to offer some extra input, to add variety to your lesson, but also to have, there is a meaning in all that. There are the activities that come with these videos, right? For the Pioneer Clip and Pioneer on View. So activities while watching, pre-watching, while watching, and after watching activities. Okay, so that you can make use of at any certain point that you want to do that throughout the year. Okay. Moving on to another component. This is an extra option that if you are interested in, you can get in touch with Kinseido in order to see how you can acquire it. Now, the Pioneer Online Pack is an actual pack where you can get the printed workbook together with a code, so that this code can give you access to the e-workbook and the digital glossary. You get the actual activities of the workbook in an interactive online digital format. Okay, and you also get some extra online material. And the actual videos that we saw earlier are also included in this pack. Okay, so that you can make use of that in case that you are doing something like that in your school, or you want to do that in your school. We can also see an example of the video. Give me a second. So this is the online pack. You can see some activities in the workbook, for example, how the student can do that. You can correct yourself directly. You can check your progress. You can see your marking. All right.
Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Just one more thing,
Some
please.
listening activity.
Yes? Is your last name with a Y? No, it's with an I. Tailor.
We always offer the option to rethink your answer before you finalize it. Okay. And then all the extra material that you can find in the online pack there, right? Some extra activities, or the glossary that you can see how it works, right? You can type the word that you're looking for, and you can see the definition, you can see the example, if there is an image available as well, right? Apart from what we saw, in general, the students can have access to some free online material resources on our website. They can download on the students area the audio tracks, the audio parts of the book, right, for some extra practice if they want to do it on their own. And they can access that through smartphones, tablets, PCs, anywhere. Okay. Same thing for the teacher. First of all, there is a teacher resource CD-ROM. In there, they will have all the tests of the book, all the extra material, all the videos that we saw in the worksheets, the audio, and the track list as well. In specific, first of all, for the tests, we get the corresponding tests to the module of the book, one test per module, a midterm test, a final test, of course, the key and transcripts, and the audio section. All right. Now, these tests are printable. They are in PDF format, but also in Word format, modifiable format, where you can add an activity, you can rearrange the activities, you can omit an activity. It's up to you how you want to use it. As I said, we want to offer you the tools, not to just make you use whatever we offer and in only one way. Okay. The extra material is all about extra practice in reading, listening, vocabulary, communication, grammar, and speaking skills. Okay, so we offer you extra activities for you to make use when and if you need it. These are some examples of the extra material, right, for grammar or for vocabulary, as we saw. Now, the Pioneer Clips and Pioneer on View, the videos, are also available in a DVD format for those schools that tend to use a DVD player in the classroom, for example, but you don't want to make use of the interactive whiteboard. You just want to make use of the videos themselves. So we offer you this option, either as a DVD or quite pretty soon we will be able to have it in a form of a link if you also want. But at the moment, they are also available in DVD format so that you can get for your DVD player and show them in the classroom. Another option for you, and again, this is something that it's up to the school and the teacher to discuss and see if you want that extra option. You can't get in touch with Kinseido to discuss about it. There are the online tests. We're talking about one test per module, vocabulary and grammar tests. All right, for extra practice, for extra testing if you want to make use of that. These are like that, most of the times multiple choice tests, okay, which the student can check the answers and get the result instantly. In general, the way that we have created our material, digital and online material, in such a way in order to have to give you the opportunity to access them anywhere, anytime. Okay, so they're web-based, and you can access them through any device. To sum up, the components for the students book, the workbook in full color, the Pioneer Online pack as an extra option, and all the time, for most of our books, we also have the ELT platform. The ELT platform is an LMS, let's say, a type of LMS where you can have extra activities based on the title that you're using for extra practice, extra homework. The student can go, do the activities. The teacher can assign the activities to the class. The students of that class can do the activity, get their grade by just instantly. Okay, and the teacher can have the reports. For the teacher, we have the teacher's book, the class CD for the listening and audio parts, the interactive whiteboard material, which includes almost all of what we saw. The option of the DVD if they want a DVD for the videos, the teacher resource CD-ROM with the test, the extra material, the Pioneer worksheet, the video worksheets, and again, the option of the ELT platform if they want to make use of the ELT platform at their school. The teacher and the supervisor, they also register. The supervisor will create the school account, and then you can have access to the material. You can have access to the reporting and grading of your students. Okay. I think that was that for me. Thank you very much for your time. And it's time for questions for anyone who has any questions right now. Or if later, they can contact us in order to help you.
I think that's a good way to go about it, Vasilis. Thank you so much for your very interesting presentation. I'm sure anyone watching this webinar will have learned a lot about the Pioneer. As I said earlier, if if you're interested in getting an inspection copy of any of the levels, please go to our KinseidoEOT.com website, and when you see the eSpace button, or if you go to the product page, and on the product page you can see the inspection copy button, you can very quickly order an inspection copy of the level appropriate for you and your student. As I said earlier, as we come to a close, thank you so much for watching our webinar. We hope to be having a lot more in the future, and we also hope to have some online workshops as well for adopters and users in the future. Just one more thing, as I close the webinar, please let me do so before you close your browser, and then that will allow To Be Live to contact you with a request to make a password, and that will give you access to the system after this. If anyone would like a copy of the video, please contact me. My email is in the original invitation. Otherwise, thank you very much, and we hope to host you again soon. Thank you again, Vasilis. It was very kind of you to join us.
Thank you, Alistair. Thank everyone for having me.
And let's hope we can get some people who want to use Pioneer, because it is an excellent series. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night.